Hello, hello. How's it going? Yeah. I'm alright. I feel a lot better than I did yesterday, and it was kind of like in reverse. Today was the reverse of yesterday, because yesterday in the morning I felt great. Well, not great, I felt alright. And then gradually as the day went on, I felt worse. And today I woke up feeling real bad. And then over the course of the day, I've started feeling better. And at this point, thank you. At this point, I just feel like my arm hurts, and it's really weird because like the side that got poked hurts, but also like my armpit and that part of my arm on the inside that also hurts. So I don't know what's up with that. Probably. I was like, uh-oh. But it's probably fine. Alright, so I noticed in the VOD that still my stupid audio or the game footage and my speaking was still delayed, so I fiddled around with more settings, so I hope now it's gonna be right, but if not, I'm just gonna have to learn to live with it, I guess. I don't know what's causing it, but either way, I think I'm just gonna have to do a lot of talking. Either way. So here's the plan. I finally figured it out. Yeah. It's just it's one of those things where I'm like, why is it not working? I fixed it. I thought I fixed it. I tested it, and then it doesn't work. So it's just like, well, what the hell else do I do? But I mean, if it's not fixed this time, I'll just let it go, you know? So what I'm figuring is we're going to do the patches, all of them, for Stormblood. Then we're gonna have probably only 1 or 2 streams doing the Crystal Tower questline, because that's important for Shadowbringers. And then we're gonna start Shadowbringers. And after that, I honestly don't know if I want to do any raid series after the Crystal Towers, because it's just a lot of reading, because pretty much none of them are voiced. None of the cutscenes are voiced. But I don't know if I finish everything. We'll see when we get there. And yeah, so I don't think we're going to finish Shadowbringers and all the patches by the time that update 6.1 hasn't come out yet. But right now you can't do any New Game Plus for Endwalker, because that's not out yet. That's going to be implemented in update 6.1, but that's supposed to come in like the next month or so, probably. So yeah. If not, we'll find something to pass the time with in the meantime. Alright, I'm gonna stop rambling and we're gonna get on with it. So, here we go. I'm gonna live our dream in the meantime. Keep being a white mage. I'm gonna talk to Lise. Oh, wait. Oh, that's still off. Yeah, since I last streamed, I haven't really played any battle content. I've just been farming my Disciple of the Hand, and I have all of them at, or of the Land, and I have all of them at 90 now. So that's been going well.
Come to see how we're getting on?
Oh, buggers.
We've made good progress since we took back Alamigo, but there's one big issue we still have to address. Leadership. The Domans had Lord Hien ready and willing to take the throne, but we've got no one like that here. Theodoric was our last ruler, and he wasn't called the Mad King for nothing.
Suffice it to say, our people have had their fill of kings, which means we need to find a new way forward.
If only it were that easy. Everyone and his uncle has an opinion. For the time being, we're just going to have to keep leaning on General Aldin and the Alliance for support, and see if we can't find a solution together. Something tells me we're going to be hosting a lot of meetings in the near future. But if that's what it takes, I'm ready to talk till my jaw aches. The Reach is yours, Nargo. Don't do anything I wouldn't.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Ah, there you are. I've been searching all over for you. Don't worry, it's nothing bad.
Hi, Ironvold.
That said, this might not be the best place to talk. Will you join me? I'll get to the point. Might you be interested in a spot of adventure? After all, we were adventurers before we were scions, were we not? After routing the Imperials and liberating Alamigo, I reckon we've earned a bit of respite, don't you? And what better way to spend it than by returning to our roots? So, what say you? Shall we call on Alphino and go adventuring?
Twist my arm, why don't you? Aw, I like Ironvold. He's like a puppy. Right then, let's go and find Master Levier. Actually, leave that to me. I want you fresh for our little adventure. Wait for us by the Aetherite, and we'll be along shortly. See you there. What's up with the horses? Oh, yeah, I switched, I got a new mount. I'll switch back to Veronica. why she's not in my favorites? What the hell? She's the best. Greetings, Washe. 'Twould seem we are to accompany Ironvold on some manner of escapade. Have you any idea what we've gotten ourselves into? Allow me to explain. It'll be something of a history lesson, but I'll try to be brief. No slurring, if you please. Now, the events I would speak of occurred before the occupation, back when Alamigo was still a monarchy and Theodoric sat the throne. A uniquely brutal despot by all accounts. That he was. The King of Ruins suffered no rivals, real or imagined, and his dispute with the monks of the Fist ended with Roger's Reach being burned to the ground. In the latter years of his rule, he was seized by the unshakable belief that unseen forces were conspiring to steal his crown, and so he ordered that every soul with a claim to the throne be executed, including his own family. The wealth of the poor sods he put to death became the property of the king, and it is said that these royal treasures were hoarded somewhere in the palace. Thus was born the legend of the Mad King's Trove. Oh, who's calling me? Someone's calling me. Hold on. Sorry about that. Someone calling me if I wanted to help with a collection. Alright. I believe I see the direction our adventure is to take. I assume you have a mind to unearth this hidden bounty. You assume correctly. And would I also be correct in assuming that this legend is widely known? Others must surely have gone in search of your prize, tempting as it seems. Well, of course we won't be the first to make the attempt. Following Alamigo's liberation, more than a few eager soldiers turned the palace upside down in hopes of claiming an easy fortune. But even after scouring every room from dawn till dusk, they uncovered not a single coin. Their gold lust drained away as quickly as it had come, and the legend of the Mad King's trove remains simply that, a legend. But I see you have no intention of letting the story end there. What self-respecting adventurer would? Imagine the three of us delving into a decades-old mystery. Tell me the thought doesn't set your heart to racing. Cute. I've learned the emote box. Let's see if I can get that working. Bop. Bop, bop. Flashe ready to fight. The news of Doma and Alamigo's liberation has kindled the flames of revolution in every corner of the Empire. I hear the Imperial province of Damaska has already risen up in rebellion, which means the Garleans must surely have their hands full. What better time than now to indulge in such a diversion? Tell us, Ironvault, have we any clues as to where we might begin our search? Well, judging by how the other treasure hunters fared, nosing about the palace isn't like to get us anywhere. So, we'll probably need to ask around. Would that be another way of saying no? Well, yeah. Yes. I see. In that case, I shall pay a visit to the Allied Archivists and request access to the records seized from the Imperials. The Garleans are meticulous about such things. They uncovered the trove during their occupation. The event is certain to have been recorded. In the meantime, the two of you can track down those who worked as Palin's servants and officials in Theodoric's day. Given that they would have been at least 20 at the time, you will be looking for people who have seen 40 summers or more. Anything they can tell you about the king and his bloody deeds may prove useful, so be sure to listen well. Ironvault, pray try your luck in the fringes and the peaks while Dwache makes the rounds in the Alamigan quarter. Ha, and there I was thinking I was the party leader. Not that I mind, of course. Let's be about it, eh? We can meet afterwards at Gilbardy's gate. I love this guy. Can't fly in here. Well, let's teleport. In the palace? No, not me, lass. Surely you've heard the stories of the Mad King. He used to hold public executions up on the divine audience. Anyone, and I mean anyone, suspected of conspiring against the crown was flung from the top of those steps. Suffice it to say that I stayed as far away from the palace as possible. Cool guy. You want to hear an old mate's stories, do you? Aye, well, most of what I know of the Mad King is common knowledge. We'd only see His Royal Majesty when he deigned to attend the executions he'd ordered, and after a while, even watching his enemies die wasn't enough to coax him out of hiding. They say he started seeing assassins in every shadow, and wouldn't set foot outside the palace walls. I was offered work there as a royal servant once, but the mere thought of it left me in a cold sweat. Where's the music? Give me back the music. Aye, I served at the pleasure of King Theodoric and lived to tell the tale. One of the palace guards I was. Truth be told, it was a dark chapter in my life, and one I'd sooner forget. Hardly a night went by when we didn't hear blood-curdling screams echoing from the inner chambers, which, of course, we were under orders to ignore. So we'd stand still as statues, trying not to imagine what horrors were unfolding within. If you're hellbent on finding out what happened in the palace, head down the street here and ask old Arnold. He was the king's head scribe. What are you wearing? Oh, don't mind the previous outfit I was trying on. That is a cool skirt. Very spooky, very Halloween-y. I love it. Yes, I'm Arnold. What do you want with me? You would have me dredge up some decidedly unsavory memories. Yet if Alamiga is to move forward, we must needs acknowledge the misdeeds of the past. Very well, I shall tell you what I remember. I take it you know of Theodoric's paranoia and the public executions of his kinsmen. Those were terrible enough, but in his last days the king's fevered mind settled upon an even grislier method of disposal, which only a chosen few were unfortunate enough to witness. His Majesty ordered the court thaumaturge to unleash a vile curse upon the remaining members of the royal family, a magic which transformed them into fiends of hideous aspect. The resulting monstrosities were then cast into the darkness below the palace. Even now my sleep is troubled by nightmares. If others of Theodoric's blood were prone to share his madness, then mayhap it is a kindness that the monarchy ended with him. Whoa! Hello. Oh. Since we're all here, why don't we share what we've learned? Allow me to begin then. As promised, I scoured the Imperial records for any mention of fantastic treasures and found precisely none. It's just possible, I suppose, that a corrupt official deliberately hid the fact of the trove's discovery, hoping to enrich himself, but I find it rather unlikely that so valuable a find would stay secret for long. I conclude that our prize either does not exist or that the Imperials somehow overlooked it. But what of you, Duache? Were your investigations any more fruitful? Turn into monsters? And what could he mean by this darkness beneath the palace, I wonder? I met an old man in Aligiri who spoke of the palace's subterranean prison, but he said naught of cursed abominations. The Imperial archives were also silent on the subject of fiends inside the palace grounds. Could this scribe fellow have been spinning her a yarn, do you think? Did you believe him, Duache? His fear seemed genuine. If he was afraid, that does lend credence to the tale. Though I'm not sure how that helps us in our search. Do not be so hasty. Ernald's anecdote may very well have told us where the trove is hidden, but ere I share my theory, there is a matter I would clarify. Arnvald, you spoke of light-hearted adventure, but I sense a deeper motive for this expedition. Why are you so intent on finding this treasure? It wasn't all pretense, I swear it, but you're right. My father was in the Imperial Army, a man of Garlean blood. I trust you know what I mean when I say that my Alamega mother did not welcome my arrival. As I grew, she would check my brow over and over, convinced that a spot on my skin was an emerging third eye, like the kind you see in pure-blood Garleans. My mother did not care for this taunting reminder of my heritage and took up a knife. War paint serves to cover the scar. In the end, she turned me out into the streets, and I was left to haunt the alleyways of Alamigo, a pharaoh child who got what he needed through begging, cunning, or worse. The best I can say about the years that followed is that I survived, but I hated the animal I'd become. Eventually I left the city behind me and joined a group of refugees bound for the other side of the wall. It was then that I turned to adventuring, and that road led me into the company of the Scions. I know, right? I tell you this so that you understand. I know all too well what poverty and hunger can do to a person. I drew steel on ordinary folk for a measly crust of bread. With Theodoric's gold, I could spare my countrymen the shame of living like that. Oh, he's such a good guy. Thank you, Arnvald, and I apologize. That cannot have been pleasant to recall, but I felt it best to be clear in our intentions. Well, Duache, are you content to surrender the treasure to Arnvald's noble cause and claim the thrill of adventure as your reward? Ah. What does that say about Agave? Tragic backstory? Then I should be glad to tell you my theory on the resting place of the Mad King's trove, if you are minded to hear it. Oh. Well, it's up to us to give Agave a happy future. How about that? Actually, mayhap it would be better if we first adjourned to a more suitable location. In case of a rival treasure hunter overhears our plans, you mean? Good thinking. That was not exactly the reason, but 'tis certainly a valid concern. Let us reconvene on the southern edge of Loch Seld. Let me out. Forgive me, 'twas not my intention to draw up proceedings. I simply wished to have the lock inside while I explained things. Prior to the great flood of the Sixth Umbral Calamity, the salt lakes you see before you were yet dry ravines. And this, believe it or not, was the site of the ancient city of Scala, which rose and fell during the Fifth Astral Era. From what we know of the period, the city was already deserted by the time the waters came to rise, having been all but destroyed by war. Yet its ruins remain to this day at the bottom of Loch Seld. It is my belief that the darkness beneath the palace mentioned by Theodoric's former scribe was not a reference to the prison, but to a place still further below, the ruins of Scala. I further surmise that the Mad King's unfortunate kinsmen were cast down there not simply out of a desire to punish them, but to discourage exploration. Theodoric wanted to keep the ruins secure. Wait, you're saying they were meant to guard the Mad King's trove? Precisely. And since we know the court thaumaturge was involved, we can safely assume that any entrance into the old city will have been magically concealed. Which would explain how a legion of Imperial soldiers and gods know how many Alamegans never found a trace of the trove. I'm gonna look around for them. I'm gonna cast Regen on them. We, however, have certain advantages which they did not enjoy. Blushhay, would you be so good as to swim down to the bottom of the loch and search for an underwater route into the ruins? While you do that, Arnvald and I will seek out an ensorcelled portal within the palace. Bleh. Can you tell I did not speak that much yesterday? Blah. Diving into the salt lake with my whale. Oh, hello. What's all this then? You discover a passage that appears to lead under the palace foundations. Press on and find out where it goes. Okay. It's so cool looking. Like a big old salt crystal. Come to a worn stone door, standing temptingly ajar. It would appear you have found an entrance into the subterranean ruins. Blushhay, it's Alphino. We have searched the prison beneath the palace and found a door concealed by enchantments. Have you aught to report? And you believe it leads into the ruins? Excellent. Then I propose we proceed from our respective entry points and look to meet somewhere in the middle. Oh, come on, you two. We might as well make it a race. Victory goes to the first adventurer to find the treasure. Godspeed. Okay. Let's go. Ah, Instapop. I love it. Drowned City of Scala. Oh, I know, right? Why are you running ahead of the thing? No, I'm trying to holy them. Oh, why are we going wall to wall? Ah! That's stupid good. Helpy. I... That's the wrong button. That's the one I wanted. No, get away from me. No. Yeehaw. God, I'm just thinking about all the trials we have coming up. It's not too many. There's one in the post-patch of Shadowbringers that I'm really scared of. I'm gonna be doing it as a tank. It's hard as any class, but might give us some trouble. But who knows? I thought, I thought the one against Shinryu would be real bad, but it went super smooth. Just that one trial I was talking about being scared of is the one that has like 50 million mechanics you have to keep an eye on. Which is why it's hard as fuck for new players. But by the time we get there, I'm gonna watch a guide and I'll probably be fine. What is happening here? Stop running! Please. I'm begging you. You don't have to do wall to wall, you know. It's okay. I'm standing in that bucket. I'm looking forward to playing a tank though. It's gonna be real fun. Oh, look at that. I love these types of statues, they're so goofy. I think there's one in Animal Crossing as well. It goes boom. Nah, my little guy. Just a little guy. Enjoy regen. That's all you're gonna need. Pretty nice. Yeah, I kinda like this kind of like armor. But that's not really my style. Surprisey, surprise! At this point, the Scions have no tanks. Just a bunch of DPS and healers. Oh baby, that's a lot of damage. I'm finishing this cutscene whether you like it or not. Whether you start the fight or not, I mean. Yeehaw. Oh, look at that! A polite team that waits. Let's go. Where have we seen that before? I would get out of there if I was you. Stay away from me, dude. Oh! Should probably pay attention to the boss. It doesn't show any markers at this point. That's on you, dude. Get out of there, tank! Kill him! There we go. Ah, Dungeon Master. Perfect. Oh. Rest in spaghetti. It's the victory sound as some guy's dead. Bum, bum, bum. Sad face. What did I win? Skull Executive Scouting. That's pretty cool looking, I'll give it that. Even though hair clips through it. Enough of that.
Oh, bugger it.
Are you all right?
Aye. Aye. Everything's still attached.
Ah, it seems both our paths led here. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
We spent altogether too much time fleeing fiends horrid and numerous. How fared you?
Great.
Much the same, then. 'Twould appear this place is yet inhabited by King Theodoric's kin, or what is left of them. The work of terrible magics, I fear.
Terrible, aye. But their misfortune is our fortune?
Quite. By the 12, there is even more than I imagined.
Oh, I can't wait to see the look on Lisa's face. Thanks for believing in me, you two.
Yahoo! We did it! Arnvald and I forged ahead at the fastest pace we could manage, but I was not surprised to find you waiting for us. I suppose it serves us right for challenging the Warrior of Light. Next time, we should agree on some manner of handicap. We may have lost Alphino, but just think of what we found. Quite. I am still reeling at the sight of that mountain of riches. What, like how you reeled at the sight of that floating spectre, you mean? You should have heard him scream, Dorshe. Everybody dunking on Alphino. Must we dwell on such momentary lapses? We found the Mad King's trove, and that's all that matters. All jesting aside, we must tell people the good news, and I think Lee should be the first. Seconded. There is to be a meeting of representatives from across Alamigo, so she is sure to be in the city. Shall we seek her out? Alright, we can fly here. Come on, give me some music. You know you love to give me some music. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, you three look pleased with yourselves. What have you been up to? I'm glad you asked, Lise, and I'm pretty sure you're going to like the answer. You're joking. The Mad King's trove. I thought it was a myth. So did plenty of people, but they didn't have Dwashe and Alphino in their party. The credit for finding it should really go to them. As for what to do with it all, I vote that it go towards alleviating the suffering of Alamigo's poor. Gods, if there's as much as you say. Arnvald did not exaggerate, I assure you. We could not hope to carry even a fraction of it out on our own. I have taken the liberty of sketching out a rough map of the ruins. If you will assemble a squad of your most trusted freedom fighters, they should be able to follow the road to where the treasure lies. Understood. I'll make sure every coin is accounted for, and that goes for the spending of it as well. Thank you. Oh, there is one other thing. When the time comes to draw up a plan for distributing the spoils, I would ask that you consult Alphino. I don't have a head for details. I'm not educated. I see that simply handing out sacks of gil won't solve everything, but I couldn't rightly tell you what to do instead. Oh, I know the feeling. I'd welcome any advice you could give us, Alphino. Of course, I shall be at your disposal. Commander, we've got a problem. Deep breaths. Tell me what's happened. A mob's gathered outside headquarters and they've started making demands. You'd best come and see for yourself.
Step back, all of you!
Like hells we will! We know who you've got in there!
We're not leaving till you hand her over!
Bring her out! Bring her out!
What's going on?
Someone let slip about Fedorla.
It's true then! The bitch really is in there! I knew it! I bloody knew it! We demand vengeance! Bring her out! Today we butcher the butcher!
Butcher the... Come on, you don't mean that! We'd be no better than the Imperials if you'd all just calm down!
Calm down! That monster and her thrice damned skulls dragged my man from our home and beat him to death in the street!
Aye! And my dad! That bitch has spilt enough blood to fill a lock!
We all know her crimes. She's a traitor and a murderer. How many of your resistance friends have died at her hands, eh? And here you are, protecting her!
So that's what all the fuss is about.
Dad, please help.
Hearken to me, brothers and sisters of Alamigo.
Hey, who's this?
That's the Bull of Alamigo.
My friends, you are not alone in your anger, your grief, your despair, for it is mine as well. That gnawing pain in your breast, it is enough to bring an old bull to his knees. But I ask you, brothers and sisters, to think not only of the family and friends who were cut down before your very eyes, but to think also of the ones who were abducted, the ones who may yet live. Where were they taken? What became of them? These questions demand answers. I share your thirst for justice, for vengeance. But we will gain only fleeting satisfaction if we give in to our base appetites. We will never know the truth. Now is the time that we, the people of Alamigo, must decide what manner of nation we will build for ourselves, and for generations yet unborn. When they look to our example, will they see a people who held fast to their principles, or one who cast them aside when tried? I say to you, it is our responsibility to give these prisoners a fair trial, that they might answer to all of Alamigo. The Garleans called us savages, and I'll be damned if we prove them right.
I know you're right, I do. But I can't.
Golf clap. Oh man. Fucking saved. My thanks, Raban. Listening to their anger, I could feel myself being swept away. 'Tis a difficult tide to stem. 'Twas that same rage which brought us to our feet and carried us to victory. But now the war is over. All the unspent fury is being channeled into vengeance. Aye, and it's not just here. We've reports of mobs forming all over. They've been targeting folk known to have cooperated with the Guardians. It starts with insults most often, then someone picks up a stone. Some industrious souls even thought to seek out the graves of Xenos and his officers. It was grim. I want to build a country where everyone, regardless of race or origin, can live side by side in peace. But maybe the time isn't right. Maybe people just aren't ready. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. The representatives will be here soon, and I'll be damned if I'm going to give up before I've even begun. Who are these representatives exactly? Oh, village elders, refugee leaders and the like. It wouldn't be right for us to dictate the nation's future on our own, so we've planned a summit of sorts. We've even invited the Ananta and the Kikiran to participate. Alamigo stands at a crossroads, and this meeting will decide which path it takes. The matter of Fordola's sentence cannot be suffered to disrupt proceedings. Then let's execute her and be done with it. She herself asked to be put to death. No go, I already explained why we wouldn't do that. Sending her to the gallows might satisfy people right now, but where would it end? Should we round up everyone who collaborated, and everyone who didn't resist? There would be no one left, and we'd be no better than Theodoric and Xenos. Begging your pardon, but might I be allowed to speak with Fordola? Only I caught a glimpse of her past, a moment of it anyway, during the fight. She's done terrible things, aye, unforgivable things. But in some ways, she's a victim of the circumstances in which she was born, and that's something I can understand. Alright, speak with the prison guard when you're ready, and I'll come and join you. I want to talk to her too. I'll return to my other duties then. We've barely begun to investigate the facility where they gave Fordola her powers. Be fairly warned, friends. She will test you. Don't let your emotions color your judgment when she does. Oh boy. Here we go. You have the commander's permission to enter then. What's all this then? Voice acting? Please?
Well, well, well. So many visitors. Come to have a good laugh, have you? Or do you mean to put me out of my misery? To finish what you started? It's about bloody time.
That's not why we're here, no. Do you remember what I said? How I promised you you'd live long enough to see us win our freedom? Well, I meant it. And not to mock you either.
You're wasting your time. All of this is pointless! There's no reason to keep me alive, and you know it! I killed your men. I killed my men! And you know what my only regret is? That I didn't kill you when I had the chance!
That's a lie, and you know it! You think we can't tell what you're trying to do? That we're blind? Yeah, you're a fool, but you're not stupid. You're ruthless. Relentless. You'd give up anything and everything to get what you want. You didn't come this far, climbing over the bodies of your own brothers and sisters just to piss it all away. I see you, Fedora. I see you for what you are.
Exposition time.
Come along, Fadola. We mustn't be late. The Imperial Viceroy will be attending today's banquet.
All right!
Father, what's Lord Gaius like? Is he nice? Are you friends?
There you go again with all your questions. Lord Gaius is a great and honourable man who looks after all of Alamigo. He's very busy, and if we don't hurry, we'll miss our chance to see him.
Filthy tin-head lovers.
Father, what did that man call us?
The little tin-head lover doesn't know what she is, eh? A traitor, sweetheart. A backstabbing bitch who'd gladly betray her kith and kin
That's
to gnaw on what
a
few
child,
scraps
sir?
the Imperials deign to toss her. Like your bastard father and whore mother.
That's not true! My parents are good people! They've never done anything like that!
Oh, but they were quick to help themselves and their bitch spawn,
Stop.
weren't they? You're just as guilty as them.
Fadola!
Traitors!
Please, you have to do something. My husband and daughter are in danger.
Soldiers of the Imperial Army are under no obligation to intervene in the disputes of army.
We're citizens. We have rights.
Ah!
I'm scared.
It's all right. It's all right. They don't understand, but they'll see in time. They'll see that this is the only way to survive. Traitors! Traitors!
Let the savages have their fun. They'll be more compliant once they've tired themselves out.
Vidola, please! You already have citizenship. Why would you want to become a soldier? Oh, gods! What have you done to your face?
Forgotten it already, have you? I'm honoring Father's memory.
By telling the world that you know better than a common savage.
Ow.
Am I though, Mother? Are any of us? Can't you see? Citizenship means nothing to them. If you're not a pure-blood Garlean, you're no different from any other savage.
Wow.
So I'll play the part. I'll join the Legion and I'll make them respect me. And when the mob see that, they'll think twice before throwing their stones. Ansfrid, Rudolph, Emlyn. It's time. It'll be hard. Humiliating. They'll try to break us. Send us crawling back to our own kind. But we won't, no matter what. We'll bleed for them, die for them if we have to. We'll do whatever it takes to be free!
So, you mean to play the part one last time, eh? The unrepentant traitor whose death will serve to unite the people?
Shut up.
You had every chance to kill yourself. Fashion a noose from your clothes. Wait for the guards to leave you alone long enough to slip it over your neck.
I said shut up!
Oh, but then it would have all been for nothing, wouldn't it? Whatever it takes. That's what you said.
Been in my head, have you? Had a little peek at my past?
Yep.
And what? A few stolen memories tell you everything you need to know, do they? Don't you dare patronize me! You don't know a god's damned thing about the life I've led! The bastards that killed him. The bastards that let it happen. My father deserved better! I swore I'd do whatever it took to make them pay!
she has the echo as well. The artificial echo, of course, but...
You. All that power. All that pain. It's too much. Too much for anyone. The things they've done to you. The lies. The betrayal. The endless fighting. Yet there you stand. Unbroken. How? Why?
Why is this making me so emotional? Because I choose to.
Damn you. Damn you all.
You still have time, Fordola. Think about how you want to spend it. Let's go.
Whew. Mamma mia. I don't know that we solved anything exactly, but we've given Fordola something to think about at least. Aye, and I've found something new to think about too. I don't know about you, Duache, but the visions only come to me every now and then. From the way Fordola kept wincing, though, I get the feeling she's having them almost all the time. That's a lot of bad memories to deal with. I wonder, could there be some fundamental difference between one who is born with the echo and one who has been artificially imbued with it? Well, the Immortal Flames have been scouring that research facility ever since the liberation. There's a chance they might have some answer for us. Oh, I know, right? General Aldin's there overseeing the investigation. Let's go and pay him a visit, shall we? Okay. Let's go inside. Still yucky music in here. Hello. What news? You spoke with Fordola, I take it? Yes, as expected, she didn't say very much, but it wasn't a total waste of time. Arnvald noticed something odd about her. He thinks she might be having visions almost constantly, which is not how the echo normally works. Have you found anything here which might explain why it's so different for her? We've been hard-pressed to organize the research materials, let alone study them. To be frank, I'd welcome the science expert assistance if you have time to lend a hand. The device in which Krile was held seems even more ominous now that you know its purpose. The surrounding pods are marked Supply Subject, while this one bears the label Master Subject. The Ironworks received a request from the Alliance to analyze these devices, and I've been recording everything of interest. Did you notice the labeling? All the pods are designed to drain the ether of the occupant, save that one right there. Unlike the others, the interior has been fitted with an array of sensors to measure etheric waveforms. For what purpose, however, I couldn't tell you. Well, to attune to the etheric wavelength of the echo, probably. Since Carl is in there and she has the echo. So many bodies, every one of them a victim of these experiments. Few show any signs of external injury. From what we've been able to determine, they perished from forcible ether extraction. Such a miserable way to die. Rough. I know little and less of science, so any light you can shed on this facility's operations would be very much appreciated. Toache, shall we start with you? Yep. Taken in combination with the testimonies of Kral and Thancred, I do begin to see exactly what the Imperials were attempting here. The enhancement procedure entailed infusing a single candidate with ether siphoned from a multitude of supply subjects. As for the master subject, in this case Krile, the patterns of her etheric activity would provide the model upon which they would artificially engineer the candidate's aura. In other words, they were trying to recreate Krile's echo. I believe so, which would explain our prisoner's present state. Krile is possessed of an unrivaled ability to hear the whispers of the soul, and it seems probable that the procedure engendered the same acute sensitivity in Fordola. The soldiers who guarded Fordola, many of them lost friends and family to the skulls. And there's a sentry at her door night and day. If she can't help sensing their thoughts and seeing their past. But you don't just see their past, you live it. All the emotions, all the pain. Imagine what it'd do to you. You'd never be the same again. Indeed, as you may recall, Izel was completely transformed by a single glimpse of Reisfelger's past. Fordola has been forced to experience the agony of those whose lives she destroyed. The guilt must be unbearable. That explains her request to be executed. Sounds to me like a kind of justice. Regardless, she can suffer on for now. We have more pressing matters to consider. If the results of these experiments have been relayed back to Garlemald, there will be naught to stop the Empire from repeating the trick. They could give the echo to anyone, to an entire legion. We must be ready. We must learn all we can of these God's-forsaken procedures, and Fordola remains our best source of information. She'll not be getting her wish. Not yet. Right. Keep faith, lass. If you're to convince others to follow you, you must believe what you're telling them. People will respond to passion, but not if it's feigned. I understand. Thank you, General. We should leave the flames to it. Let's go. Oh, I know. I don't know how I feel about the Fordola backstory reveal. I want a redemption arc for Fordola as well. I think the one thing that, like, doesn't make me hate it is that they show, like, the Imperials don't give a fuck about Ferdola's parents either, even if they're important enough to meet the Viceroy. Just a dude talking to Fordola was just like, okay, dude, you're talking to a child. Stop. She literally cannot help it. What her parents do. I go looking for answers about the Echo and end up getting schooled by Rauban. Yet more evidence that I don't know what I'm doing. It's no wonder people listen to him and not me. General Alden is a veteran of countless campaigns, Lise. You cannot compare yourself to a commander of his experience. I know, but I also know that I couldn't have convinced that mob to give up and go home. It makes me realize how much we rely on his authority, and how much I still have to learn. I wonder what he'll do when everything here is settled. I mean, it's his homeland. After going to the trouble of winning it back, might he not want to stay? 'Tis a quandary which countless refugees now face, to continue the life they built in Ul'dah, or start again in the land of their birth. Toche, a moment. I am newly returned from Ul'dah with a message from the Sultana. Her Grace desires an audience with you. She understands that you have responsibilities here, but asks that you visit the palace at your earliest convenience. Well, I must away and attend to other business. Until next time, my friends. An audience with the Sultana. Depending on the nature of her consultation, this might be the perfect opportunity to inquire about the General's future plans. Yes, we'd all like to know about those, Alphino, but not everyone's as comfortable interrogating royalty as you. Take no notice of him, Doache. God, everyone's just dunking on Alphino. Come on. Leave him alone. Well, the question of how to put the Mad King's treasure to good use shows no sign of answering itself. Shall we be about it, Ironvault? I'm at your beck and call. And I should be getting back to my own tasks. I'll organize a squad to head down into the ruins, and then start preparing for the big meeting. Oh, send Nanamo my regards, Doache. And ours too, if you please. We shall see you on your return. My lady, it was an honor to face you in the tournament. Since that day, I've spent my every spare moment in the practice yard, striving to attain some fraction of your skill with the blade. Ah, forgive me. You are here for your audience with the Sultana. Please proceed.
I thank you for answering my summons in these most interesting times. You have been busy. The liberation of Alamigo will have far-reaching consequences, and there is a matter upon which I would seek your counsel. I speak of Rauban and his future. All know the tale of his rise from penniless refugee to member of the Syndicate and General of the Immortal Flames. Yet though he has come to call Ul'dah home, it will never be his homeland. He is a son of Alamigo. And now that she is free, I thought it only a matter of time before he sought my leave to return to her. Indeed, I had resigned myself to his loss. Suffice it to say, I was greatly surprised to hear him speak so lightly of handing over the reins in Alamigo and retaking his place at my side. I will welcome him with open arms, of course. He is my most trusted advisor and my dearest friend. But I have known the man a long time, and beneath that steely gaze, I spied a flicker of doubt. Whether Rauban chooses to remain in Ul'dah or return to Alamigo, I only wish that he do so with a heart unburdened by guilt or regret. Yet, how can he freely make such a choice, knowing how much I depend on him? It is past time that I learned to discharge my duties as a Sultana alone. I must go forth and see my realm with my own eyes, and hear the wind with my own ears. Might I have your company for a brief adventure? Wonderful. Allow me a moment to change into something a touch less conspicuous, and I will join you outside.
Perchance you remember Lilira, the merchant's daughter. This is the persona I assume when I venture beyond the palace walls to observe my subjects unnoticed. Ordinarily, Papashan would accompany me, but for this particular outing I needed an advisor, not a minder. And that's why I requested your company. Over the course of your many adventures, you have met people from all walks of life in every corner of Eorzea, and I would make use of your worldly experience. Now, let us be on our way. Our first destination is Stone's Throw, just beyond the gates of Nald. Can't write in this slightly. Look upon this procession of tattered tents. These refugees camp in squalor, at the mercy of the elements and Thanalan's predators both. The city's mighty walls offer safety, but the streets overflow with people as it is. And unless blessed by the hand of Nald himself, no refugee could ever hope to afford a dwelling in Ul'dah. 20 years have passed since the fall of Alamigo, and 5 since the calamity. Yet the plight of the poor has grown more desperate, not less. As Sultana, the blame falls upon me. Your hands have been tied, Your Grace. Yes, my authority is limited. That is an obstacle I must work to overcome. Shall we press on? I would follow the road to the unholy air. It was here, in this wholly unremarkable place, that my mother and father met their doom. I was but a child at the time. My parents were returning from an inspection of our interests in eastern Thanalan when an untimely rock slide crushed their carriage. To this day, it is not certain if the incident was simple misfortune or an expertly planned assassination. Rauban once offered to reopen the investigation and bring me the truth he assumed I must surely crave, but I refused. Even if my parents' deaths were orchestrated by the monetarists, we could only have brought their hirelings to justice. The true villains, those who plotted to put me on the throne as a biddable puppet, were ever beyond our reach. Thus did I plan to strip the merchants of their power and place our nation in the hands of its citizens, quite unaware of the consequences my actions would have for you and yours. I shudder to think how many goodly souls paid the price for my naivete. But I am no longer a child reciting words with witless obedience, and I will not be used as a pawn in the monetarist damnable games. Forgive me my outbursts. You are one of the few people whom I feel I can speak my mind. Come, let us return to Ul'dah and visit the Colosseum. Oh. Wait. From the moment I became Sultana, I found myself thrust into an endless parade of document signing and ceremonies. For years, I simply signed where I was told to sign, and sat where I was told to sit, blissfully oblivious to what any of it meant. Yet one good thing did come from that ignominious chapter of my life. for it was during an official visit to the Colosseum that I first met Rauban. The match I had been invited to attend was not at all what I expected. They had pitted the Bull of Alamigo against some dozen or so rival gladiators. Blinkered though I was, I would not stand for so obvious an injustice, and demanded to see a fair fight, one man against another, and my royal wish was duly granted. It was not until later that I learned of the gambling ring which had arranged for Rauban to die on the sands that day. Regardless, my intervention meant that Rauban had but a single opponent to dispatch, which he duly did, and when he knelt before me to receive the winner's purse, he swore that he would one day offer me his blade in service. Surrounded as I was by liars and manipulators, I confess I did dismiss it as a pleasant piece of theater. But as you know, Rauban is a man of his word. Though it took him another 5 years of fighting on the blood sands, he amassed a fortune so great as to buy not only his freedom, but a seat on the syndicate. Then I had my blade. I know. Exposition time.
Your Grace, you mustn't! The danger is too great! Please, Your Grace, come back! I beg of you!
It seems you're the one who needs looking after, Master Sham. Rauban!
Your Grace, I have kept the promise made.
So you have, and in turn, so too shall I keep mine. With your winnings, you have become one of the 6 most wealthy souls in all Uldar, and so, as tradition dictates, Rauban Aldin, you have earned yourself a seat on the Syndicate. May your new station garner you still greater glories.
I am honored, Your Grace, and vow to serve with every fiber of my being from this day till my last. Long live the Sultana, and long live Uldar!
Aww. Words cannot well express what that man means to me. There are others who care deeply for my well-being, of course. Papa Shan's love for me is that of a grandsire for his grandchild. But upon matters of governance, I cannot turn to bodyguards and maidservants for counsel. Rauban, with the authority of his syndicate position, was the first sword I could wield. His was the only edge which could cut the strings that bound me. We must make haste. My absence will not go unnoticed by the Sultan's Horn for long, and there are other places I would visit. To the Arzaneth ossuary. Oh, the Thaumaturge's Guild. I see, I see. You're wearing a bikini. When the calamity threatened, oh, but I got what? Holy shit! Let's start that again. When the calamity threatened, Rauban led the Alliance forces into battle on the plains of Cartno, and I remained here. I prayed with all my heart that Archon Louis-Sois would have the power to rouse the 12. Since that day, I have made a custom of visiting this shrine during each of my little excursions. Here, I seek the blessing of Thal, reflect upon my choices, and ask myself if I am fulfilling my duties as Sultana. You are rightly celebrated as a champion because you have led the line in 100 battles for the good of Eorzea. In much the same way, I believe the measure of a monarch lies in how she leads her people in times of adversity. If I am to be a Sultana worthy of the name, I cannot turn a blind eye to the troubles facing Ul'dah. I have chosen my path, Duache. With Alamiga now freed from imperial chains, I finally see a way to aid the refugees. Already, many displaced Alamigans seek to begin the long trek home. And as you well know, our artisan school shall be waiting to accept any who wish to learn new trades. Realistically, however, it will take years for such training to yield tangible benefits. But we do not have years. These people will need shelter and employment if they are to survive, and this time the Ul'dah treasury shall provide. Precisely where and how to allocate the necessary funds is, of course, another question. Why not seek the advice of one who employs refugees? A wise suggestion. Mayhap a visit to the Gold Saucer is in order. Its proprietor is a member of the syndicate, and he is one of the few who pays refugees a fair wage. I wonder, are you acquainted with Godbird Manderville? Then I need not explain his eccentric nature. Let us make our way to the landing, and I will see that word is sent to the Gold Saucer. Godbird should be only too glad to receive us. Yeah, I don't mind wearing the sexy clothes on the characters, but sometimes you just see people walking around fully in bikini, and then I'm like, how can you get immersed in the story if your character is walking around the battlefield in a bikini? But maybe that's just me. I've ridden aboard a public airship before, but this shall be my first visit to the Gold Saucer. I must confess to some excitement. Yeah, I guess at least you get to look at a butt. Which is always a plus. Because this butt is covered by 10 million layers. Thank you. I had heard descriptions of its splendor, yet I never dreamed it would be so bright and inviting. It's pretty cool. No, I couldn't possibly. We did not come here to fritter away the royal coin. Godbird will be expecting us. Come, let us head directly to the lounge and ignore these gaudy temptations. Oh yeah, this is a casino. Speaking of, I haven't been here in a while, so I'm just gonna see if there's anything new that I want. Oh my god. It's also expensive. Nope. Well, can I wear this yet? Nope. You can be a little piggy. Look at that. Well, speaking of skimpy outfits, by the way. What about this? How can you take your character seriously if they're wearing this? This is very baby's first baby's first sexy outfit. I don't like the color of the tights. It's even brighter. Because it's kind of red. Let's see if I can make it less obnoxious with dye. Nope. Does not dye it. Oh, it's surely to be a reference to some other fucking Final Fantasy game. I don't know. Well, this is not much better. But at least if it all fits together. Alright, that's enough of that. Nanimo. I believe this is where we are to meet Lord Manderville. Shall we sit while we await his coming? My apologies, Your Grace. I've kept you waiting. No apologies are necessary, Godbert. My request was sudden, and you were kind to make yourself available at such short notice. When my son's good friend and the Sultana herself come calling, there is no more important engagement. Oh yeah, I helped his son. As to the purpose of my visit, I would have your thoughts on how the Crown might best aid the refugees residing in Thanalan. You are aware, I'm sure, that many of Alamigo's displaced sons and daughters long to return to their newly liberated homeland, and you are also aware of how they will suffer without shelter and work to sustain them. I would use our nation's wealth to spare them that suffering. What advice have you for me on the matter of how it might best be distributed? The unusual circumstances of our meeting and your Grace's choice of companion would suggest to me a desire for an honest and unvarnished opinion. I shall give you one. My advice to you is stop. Taxing Ulda's wealthy to save Alamegan refugees is a terrible, terrible idea. You oppose my proposition? Most emphatically. I agree with your grace that the refugees must have housing and employment, but what profit is there for Ulda in this arrangement? Profit? After all you've done for Girabanius displaced, I thought you the very last person to seek to benefit from their misfortune. Forgive me, your grace, but you appear to be laboring under a misapprehension. It is a fine endeavor to support one's fellow man. I fear, however, that your stance is one born of pity. Your intent is to save the refugees, is it not? For all our potential, we are indolent creatures by nature. If unconditional charity is all we know, then we begin to rely upon it, to expect it. And then we must consider Ulda's own poor and downtrodden. Should they hear of you spending the nation's coin, not to improve their lot, but to nurture the distant citizens of Alamigo, it is unlikely they will applaud your generosity. Surely it is not your grace's intention to foster new resentments, but to spread goodwill. Indeed. Then any support I pledge to the refugees must promote self-sufficiency, whilst also serving the interests of the people of Ulda. Exactly so. Such an arrangement will create a far more equitable relationship with the returning Alamegans, even as it generates the revenue required to win the approval of your subjects. You have given me much to ponder, Lord Manderville. I thank you for your candor. Much to think about. Profit. The thought never even crossed my mind. But standing about lamenting my naivete will not do anyone any good. I shall consider my lesson learned and press on. Tuache, are you perchance acquainted with any successful merchants? If my attempt at philanthropy is obliged to reap a profit, it would seem wise to consult someone with a knack for business. Ordinarily, I would not trust any agent of the East Aldenar Trading Company, but if you hold this Hancock fellow in high esteem, I am content to be led by you. You may repay my faith by journeying to distant Kukane and speaking with him on my behalf. Eager though I am to visit those shores, I have not the leisure for a lengthy sea voyage. Now, assuming you will travel as adventurers are wont to do, I shall await your report by the Aetherite in Ulda. A fair journey to you, Duache, and a swift one, if you please. Why the fuck would I say that I trust Hancock? Fake, out of character, not canon. Denied. Hey guy. Tuache, to what do I owe the pleasure? Or are you here on business? I beg your pardon? Her Grace the Sultana would have my opinion on how to best invest the wealth of Ulda. My dear Duache, I have you to thank for this recognition, I'm sure. And I am flattered that you came to me, truly flattered. But why settle for a lowly apprentice when you could have the master? Upon matters of profit, there is no living soul better qualified to advise Her Grace than Chairman Lolorito, a man whose morning exertions are said to fill his garderobe with gold. I should be happy to arrange a meeting for you. Say, at the Scion's former headquarters in Thanalan, the Waking Sands would seem a suitably neutral venue for negotiations, don't you think? Fare you well, Duache, and may your dealings prove fruitful. Thanks for making me spend money. When will my beloved female Hrothgar come to the game? I need to play a big cat girl. It's at the top of my food pyramid. I need it. Welcome back, Duache. Did your merchant friend have any useful advice to share? With Lolorito, and you agreed to this, I am well aware of his standing in the field of business, but I had hoped to keep the monetarists at arm's length, and him in particular. Nay, I cannot live in fear of the man. I must learn how to treat with him if I am to rule Ul'dah effectively. Very well, I will meet with Lolorito. Let us go on ahead to the Waking Sands and prepare for his coming. Trust me, Nanamo, I don't want this either. And I also don't want me to be doing what I'm doing, as the quote goes. So this is where the Scions first congregated. I've heard many tales, but never had the occasion to visit. To work then, the hour of the meeting draws near, and I would gather my thoughts. Pray see to it that we have the appointed room to ourselves. Little fucker.
A personal summons from the Scions. This must be important business indeed. Though, if it concerns anything so underhand as an assassination, I fear I can be of little help. You have made your point. 'Tis indeed unsettling to find oneself seated across from an impassive mask. There, would this better please your grace? Or should I address you as Lady Lilira?
Nay, the deception has served its purpose. I am glad to see you found amusement in my little jest, Lord Lolorito, but shall we proceed to the business at hand?
By all means. I must say I am most eager to hear your proposal.
Simply put, I would aid the refugees camped in Thanalan in their efforts to return to Alamigo. The reparations you paid in the wake of your earlier misdemeanors will be used to fund the endeavor, together with the fortune seized from the late Teleji Adeleji's estate. But this plan is not intended to benefit the displaced alone. I would make of this an investment which shall enrich Ul'dah and Alamigo both. And who better to consult on matters of profit than the wealthiest man in all of Thanalan? I beseech you then, Lord Lolorito, share with us your mercantile wisdom.
would seem your grace has matured beyond acts of earnest yet misplaced charity. Pray tell me more. To summarize, in return for facilitating the repatriation of refugees and assisting in the establishment of new industry in Alamigo, you ask that a proportion of all subsequent profits be promised to Uldar. Huh, I am impressed, Your Grace. 'Tis an elegant solution, albeit one lacking certain crucial details, specifically which industry and where.
How swiftly you identified the weakness in my plan, just as I knew you would. Your travels have taken you across the length and breadth of Gir Abania, and you know the land far better than I. Which of the settlements you visited would best provide a home for our refugees? Which has the greatest potential to flourish, given the appropriate investment?
Probably Saltery.
Ah, yes, that desolate little village on the shore of Loch Seld. I know the Saltery and its products well. The Imperial invasion brought an end to their more widespread distribution, much to the dismay of many a wealthy gourmand, myself included. Salt has ever been a transformative ingredient, and in this instance, I dare say, it could transform a modicum of effort into a mountain of gil.
The local citizens will need to be consulted, of course, but I trust the East Aldenar Trading Company can be relied upon to provide its assistance in negotiating a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Naturally, Your Grace. I shall dispatch representatives well-versed in the extraction of this white gold and wring every last ounce of profit from its production. The Loch's bounty will contribute to Alamigo's enrichment, whilst easing the burden on the bull's aching shoulders, just as Your Grace desired.
A deal is struck, then.
I should have probably chosen the wrong options first, because I remember it being really funny. He basically, like, calls you a dummy. Like, no, that's not it. Until you chose the right option. I fear it will be many years before I feel comfortable taking part in such negotiations. But I shall not complain. We have piqued Lodorito's interests and secured his invaluable expertise. Thank you, Duache. I could not have done it without you. Our course is decided. I shall return to the palace and have my ministers begin working on implementing the particulars of the plan. If I could prevail upon you one more time, Duache, I would ask that you convey the details of our negotiation to Commander Hex on your return to Alamigo. My thanks again. Together we have laid the groundwork for an endeavor which promises to benefit the peoples of Alamigo and Ul'dah both. Well, let's just see what they think about it, though. Duache, you're back. What did Nanamo... Oh, sorry. Are you allowed to talk about your audience with the Sultana? So, Raban says he's going to return to Ulda, but she isn't sure he wants to. Tell us something we don't know. But I'm pleased to hear she's committed to helping our refugees come home. And this plan to revitalize the Saltery does make a lot of sense. Quite how you convinced her to seek Lodorito's help is another question. After all that has happened, he is the very last person I would expect her to turn to for advice. But on a more practical note, Lise, assuming the interim government elects to accept Ulda's proposal, I have one caveat that I should like you to include in the bargain. Alamigo must be permitted to cover a portion of the investment. We have a fortune at our disposal, after all, and allowing Ulda to provide the entirety of the capital will afford Lodorito too much control. Honestly, Alphino, it's like Kugana never happened. What exactly does a ruthless profiteer have to do to earn your trust? But yes, you do make a good point. First things first, though. We need to discuss this proposal with the Saltery's residents. Whisker, how do you fancy explaining the Sultana's plan to your grandfather? I'd like to hear what Wat thinks of the idea before agreeing to anything. Right away, Commander. Would you mind coming along, Duache? I might need you to fill in the details. And I shall come as well. Should Wat wish to discuss figures, my knowledge of the nation's finances may prove useful. You have anything to say? Leaving the business of dividing up the treasure, promise to admit it. To ask. Can't do numbers. That's okay. Alphino can be like your tutor. Your little friend. What manner of mischief brings you young'uns to Old Wat this time, eh? They want to rebuild the Saltery, Grandad. Duache, tell them about the deal. Well, bugger me. We've never had the coin or the hands to put the place back to how it was, but it sounds like that's about to change. There's just one small wrinkle in your plan. It doesn't account for all the nasties queuing up to eat anyone who goes near the shore. The king used to send soldiers to cull the buggers, but the Imperials weren't about to help the likes of us. Don't worry, Grandad. We'll take care of all that. Commander Hex has been talking about starting up regular patrols, and I'm sure she'd assign me to the lock if I asked. I'd appreciate that, Whisker, my lad. I truly would. So, does this mean you've gotten better with that blade of yours? I've been training, aye, but mostly to kill Imperials. You've got some experience hunting monsters, don't you, Duache? Think you could cast an eye over a few of the local beasties and teach me how to deal with them? Let's not waste any time then. I'll see you by the locks. Whilst you're busy attending to the local fauna, I shall have Master Wat explain to me exactly what is required to restore the Saltery to its former glory. Good hunting. Right then, Doache, I've got a spyglass here you can use to take a closer look at these pests. Once you've got their measure, you can tell me what to do, and we'll see how well I get on. The Yabby's entire body is protected by a hard carapace, but the underside of its head looks soft and vulnerable. Ah, looks like you found a Yabby. They say hitting their shells like smacking a rock. Any suggestions? Aim for the soft underside of the head. Vulnerable under the head, are they? Right then, wish me luck. You did it. Thanks, Doache. I did just as you told me, and the wavekin went down like a sack of potatoes. Let's find something else. Oh. I think I can handle the Yabbies now, so should we try something different? What else is out there? So much shit. The Phoebut's hands are large and powerful, but destroying its crystallized core should render the salt golem inanimate. You sense power pulsating from behind its brow. Ah, a Phobud. How do I defeat one of those? Destroy the core within its brow. I love the little fake option. That's just gonna get him hurt. Just hit it really, really hard. As hard as you can. Like, no. Don't do that. Inside his head, is it? I'll try to stab it right between the eyes then. Ooh. You did it. It's not easy fighting with the Liberator of Alamigo watching your every move, but I got the job done. Thanks for the advice, Doache. I feel a lot better prepared for my patrols now. Any road, we should head back to the saltery before Grandad starts to worry I've been snipped into pieces and fed to a Yabby's hatchlings. I see you've returned in one piece. Dealt with those beasties then, did you? I fought them myself, after a bit of instruction from Doache here, like. Once I've shared what I've learned with the others, we should have no trouble keeping the shoreline clear. Good lad. A fine young man you've become, Whisker. A fine young man indeed. Too often of late I hear tales of folk over in the city, drunk on victory and hungry for revenge, their heads stuck firmly in the past. But we need to set our sights on the future, on things which will improve our lot. Things like getting the Saltery ready to welcome our long-lost countrymen. It seems Whisker has the Saltery's security well in hand. I, meanwhile, have discussed the next steps with Master Watt and completed my inspection of the site. With a little work, the vacant buildings here could be made into very presentable dwellings. Message from General Alden. Apologies for the interruption, miss, but the General would speak with you at your earliest convenience. Do not feel obligated to wait around on my account. I will remain here to hammer out the finer details with Watt, and act as an intermediary with our business partners in Ulda. You should go. General Alden asked that you wait for him by the main gate in the Alamigan quarter. Oops. I gotta do it once every couple of streams, accidentally skip dialogue. I did it so much in Heaven's Word. I just have an itchy clicking finger. I'm just like, go, 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 go. Ah, no. Bane of my existence. Ooh, beautiful. Hey, guy.
Apologies for the wait.
And your beautiful little son?
People are screaming for the butcher's blood again. No sooner have we broken up one mob than another forms. Thankfully, all have been amenable to reason, thus far. But it is no concern of yours. We must speak of the men Arenvald and his comrades apprehended in the peaks.
Ah.
By their uniforms, the captives were first judged to be Imperial troops. But after further investigation, their true identities came to light. I dare say you remember Yuyuhasi and Laurentius, the fugitives who conspired with Captain Ilberd in the Crystal Brave's betrayal. Aye, well, it would seem they followed him all the way to the wall. It was they who orchestrated the slaughter of the resistance fighters prior to the Griffin's infernal ritual.
Were it in your hands, how would you punish these men?
Oh. That's a very hard question. So I know what I would say, but what would my character say? They did so much shit. Yeah. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Execution is not the answer.
You would spare these animals. Yours is a more merciful brand of justice than mine.
Doesn't help.
In any event, I thank you for your honesty. When the time comes for the Alliance to pass judgment, I'll see that your opinion is heard. Well, that concludes our business here. But there is more I would say. Walk with me.
Duache looked at Xenos and said, I could probably fix him, given enough time.
I bear a share of the blame for Ilberd's atrocities. Had I openly supported the cause of Alamigan liberation, he might not have felt driven to do what he did. Things could have been different, and I'm sorry they aren't. But even after all that has happened, my homeland is free. With the Scions and the Alliance at their side, my countrymen have reclaimed what many thought lost forever. Under her new leadership, I have every confidence that Alamigo will emerge from the shadow of the Empire and rise once more to greatness. Which means my work here is done. Soon I will return to Uldar and take my place at the Sultana's side.
Father...
I'll not deny there's a part of me that wants to stay.
Then stay.
The same part that contemplated renouncing my rank and joining you as a wandering sellsword. But I pledged my blade to Nanamo, and I will not betray that oath.
Is this truly what you want, Father?
It is. Ever has my sword been hers to command, and ever shall it remain. Thank you for lending an ear. When all the rest are clamoring for me to stay, I trust you'll send me on my way.
You wanna stay, you gotta stay, man. That took far longer than I intended, but at least you know where I stand. Now that's settled. Arnvald, what news? We may have a problem, sir. A group of Ananta has arrived at the main gates, and I don't mean the Vera. These are Kaliana, the ones that summoned the Primal. They're insisting they be allowed to attend the council. Lisa's trying to reason with them, but she may need help. An invitation was extended to all of the native beast tribes, but we assumed the Kaliana would refuse it out of hand. We had best go and see for ourselves. Pippin, take command of our forces and be ready for battle. Duache, you've dealt with these Kaliana before. I'd have you by my side. Let me up. I'm gonna fly. Per snaps, this means trouble. conveniently color-coded. Dweshe, Raban, gods, it's good to see you. Ah, the Slayer has come. We have not forgotten how you sinned against the Lady of Bliss, but we did not come here to shed blood. You claim to seek harmony with all those who call Garabani a home. If this is truly your wish, you will welcome us as envoys of the Ananta. It is our wish, and you are welcome, but we cannot condone the summoning of primals. If you want to enter the palace, I must ask that you first surrender any crystal jewelry. You have my word that it will all be returned to you when the meeting is over. We will do as you ask, but you will not have our weapons. We are not so foolish as to place ourselves entirely at the mercy of our tormentors. I reckon that's the closest we're going to get to a compromise, and we will have people standing guard. Aye, let them keep their swords. Then we have an agreement. Lead the way to your meeting chamber. Why do I have the feeling we've welcomed a viper into our midst? This Kalyana elder's intentions seem at odds with all we know of her tribe. What do you think, Dwashe? Mayhap even the enthralled can learn to compromise. You believe an understanding can be reached. It is not entirely unheard of, I suppose. Those who followed Saint Shiva eventually sought reconciliation with Ishgard. Whatever the truth, I would take no chances. The guards must be strengthened, ideally with people who know a thing or two about primals. Can we rely on the scions? Of course. I'll round up our comrades and send them to the Alamegan corridor. You can go on ahead if you like, Dwashe. My thanks. I will see you in the palace. Oh, I forgot. I have to fly up. Hi guys. Dwashe, I've brought reinforcements. Arnval told me of the arrival of our unexpected guests, and I agreed that it would be prudent to call upon Y'shtola and Tancred as well. One can never be too careful when dealing with the enthralled. I'm not familiar with the Kalyana tribe myself, but Alze's report suggested that they shunned contact with other races, despised it in fact, even compared to other Ananta. Indeed, this apparent reversal in attitude is most curious. No one expected a response to our invitation, much less an envoy, and I imagine Lise was forced to make some rather hasty arrangements in order to accommodate them. Speaking of which, how should we deploy ourselves? The meeting is to be held in the throne room. It would seem wise to have eyes both inside and outside the palace. Y'shtola and I can stand guard without. That leaves the three of you to keep watch over the proceedings in the throne room itself. Understood. We should join General Alden inside then. Huashe, do you know of the rear entrance to the palace? It's on the eastern edge of the city at the top of the stairs. The guard there should have been instructed to let us pass. Wow! You're with the Scions, miss. General Alden left orders that you were to be escorted inside. If you follow me, let's go. Ah, finally the griffin.
Thank you all for coming. I am Lise Hext, and I speak for the Resistance. Among you are village elders, refugee leaders, envoys from the Ananta and the Kikern. You've come from every corner of Girabania to help decide the future of Alamigo. But before that, I want to ask you a question. What was the first thing you noticed when you came in? For me, it was that empty throne. It has no one to sit on it now. No viceroy, no king. Would any of you like to take their place? Or should someone else sit there? Then let's sit here in a circle, as equals, and I hope, as friends.
Expertly done. Lise has removed monarchy as a choice early in the game, and positioned them to consider a joint government. All things considered, I would say events have got off to a fine start.
And that is Alagana's stance on the matter.
Thank you, Ragenfrid. Another vote in favor. Next, let's hear from Shanti of the Kaliana. Tell us, how do your people feel about the idea of a republic?
The Ananta wish only that those who dwell within Girabania devote themselves to our faith. You shall all worship Sri Lakshmi!
Uh-oh.
Lady of Bliss, grace us once more with your beauteous visage!
Oh. There's crystal in the fucking water. Crystal in the water. That's a problem. What?
This can't be happening. No crystals were allowed through the door.
We can worry about the how of it later. We need to evacuate these people right now, or the Primal will make thralls of them all.
It's up to us.
We're a good team. Sorry, I can't help making fun of this design.
Gods damn it! The guards were already turned! Fools!
No, you don't!
The Kaliana would see us all enthralled.
Then they're going to be sorely disappointed. We have the Warrior of Light and Arenvold to shield us.
Aye, but they can't well defend your guests and attack the Primal, can they? We're stuck on the back foot.
All right, I think I have an idea. Keep these people safe, General. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Whatever she's about, she'd best make it quick. Come then. Who will be next to die on my steel?
Let's go, Arenvold. Oops. Yeah, we can do this, dude. Hold on. Let's start it again. How do we fight her without leaving our allies wide open? We can't stay on the back foot forever. No, damn it, if I think like that, we've already lost. I have the Warrior of Light by my side. We can do this! Isn't that right, Dwache? Blah blah blah. Let's go. Come here!
Why, I offer you peace and serenity.
You give up the freedom to work so hard to win? Not likely. Arenvold, get out the way! I can't pull him.
I shall free you from your hate!
Damn it all! It's only a matter of time before we miss one.
What?
What of
Spicy
it?
surprise.
Do you want to kill this thing or not?
Yeah. Let's go! you who defy me shall something. I brought you into this world over a mistake I made. And I'll be damned if you let you taunt me with it. Hey. Stack up, bitches. Let's go, Raban! Up! Run, run, run! Get going! Oh no! I have to go over there. She's going after Lisa Raban. Fucking let go of me, bench. Hello? Let go of me.
Do not your souls weigh heavy?
Come here. Fight this one. Get her, get her, get her. Can someone help me, please?
Here it comes!
Let's go, Lise! Let's go, Lise! Come on, Lise, do it! Bop! Nice! That's what you get for being white. Sorry.
We did it! We beat her!
You're next.
What is this? I'm only gonna say this once. The Ananta just summoned their primal in the throne room. My friends are fighting her, but they need help. They need someone with the Echo, and by the gods, I wish I had it, but I don't. I told you before that you still had time, but things have changed. I need your answer now. You can end it like Xenos, or you can fight for Alamigo. Your choice.
Seven hells. It's her, the Butcher.
It's done. Take me back to my cell.
You are not forgiven. Not you. You, I will never forgive. But I will thank you. For standing against a primal and saving us from servitude. You have my thanks.
That's all she needed. Road to redemption, baby. Well fought, Duache, Ironvolt. That was a near thing. Aye, our stand against the Kaliana would have been brief indeed had you not volunteered for guard duty. We'd be enthralled as surely as our sentries were. They must have planned this far in advance. Security was my responsibility, and I know how dangerous primals can be. I should have... it's my fault. My stupid mistake. Nay, lass, we were all caught unawares. We will take this as a lesson, and watch our own more carefully in the future. You can be sure that the lackeys who smuggled the crystals into the throne room weren't the only thralls in our ranks. The soldier who first spoke up in favor of the Kaliana keeping their weapons springs to mind. A primal servant is betrayed by his aura. If you mean to conduct an investigation, I can identify any others acting under Sri Lakshmi's influence. Thanks, Yistola. We'd appreciate the help. Speaking of help, I almost fell over when Fordola turned up. What was she even doing there? I asked her to come. Well, that explains it then. It's sad, but Ragnfrid was right. Her victims will never forgive her for what she's done. But I don't think Fordola picked up that sword looking for forgiveness. She wanted to fight for her country. If you say the world in which Fordola grew up is partly to blame for what she became, then as an Alamegan, I feel responsible for improving that world. We can't ignore what's happening right now. We have to show people a better way than vengeance, or we risk giving birth to a new generation of skulls. I know it's idealistic, but I want to help people to let go of their old grievances and make peace with each other. And I'll hold 1,000 meetings and talk till I'm blue in the face if that's what it takes. It is a long and arduous path you have chosen, but one well worth walking. Rest assured that I will do whatever I can to help you reach your destination. Thank you, Alphino. First step will be to get our representatives back in the throne room. They are a little shaken, but not one of them seemed ready to run. We're all determined to finish what we started. I will see that you're not interrupted. Dwashe, you and the Scions are to stand down. Get some rest. You've earned it.
A fine spot to contemplate the heavens. The meeting is over. The envoys have chosen to instate a government model on Ishgard's House of Commons, a ruling body of representatives elected by the people. It is a fair decision, and one which signals the end of my part in all this. But I would gaze upon Girabania's stars one last time before I leave. Forget something? Your Grace, there was no word.
Raubon Aldin, You are hereby dismissed as General of the Immortal Flames and relieved of your seat on the Syndicate.
But, Your Grace...
Raubon, I am no longer a child. Stay here in your homeland. Work with your brethren. Rebuild Alamigo.
You desire to stand alone. I understand, but remember what happened.
I remember full well the consequences of my naivety, and thus did I consult at length with a most trusted advisor ere I embarked upon this course.
A most trusted advisor? And what of me? Am I no longer deserving of your confidence?
What trust can there be between us when you withhold the truth from me? Did you think me oblivious to the anguish in your eyes when you spoke of returning to Uldar? For years and years, we have trusted one another. Yet now you refuse to confess your heart's desire?
I swore an oath to you that day on the sands. I pledged my sword.
And it has served me well. But in Pippin you have forged a new sword, as sharp and deadly as the blade you bequeathed him. I will show you a Sultana who can wield every weapon at her disposal, including Lolorito and his monetarist cronies. So follow your heart, please. You are home. You are free.
Nanamo.
Smile for me, Raubon. I would have this parting be a joyous one.
Thank you, Your Grace. It has been an honor to serve you and Uldar.
Tomorrow you will serve Alamigo and fight for the good of all Eorzea. Am I understood?
Yes, Your Grace.
Hello? Can I speak police, please? Thank you.
Thanks for shielding us from Lakshmi, you two. If you hadn't been there, the rest of us would be worshipping her by now.
You're kind to include me, Lise, but we both know who did most of the work. I could scarce keep track of the battle, let alone land a telling blow. No shame in admitting it. The Warrior of Light has put far better men than me in the shade.
Did I mention that I encountered the Sultana in the palace? It would seem Her Grace has come to Girabania to oversee the final stages of her relocation project. She was in search of General Oldin, and I directed her to the rooftop garden. I do hope he was still there.
Are you in the habit of gossiping about the affairs of royalty, Master Leveilleur?
Certainly not, Your Grace. I was merely informing my companions.
Be at ease, Alphino. 'Twas only a jest. But I must yield the floor to Raubarn. He has an important announcement to make.
As of yesternight, I have been relieved of my post in the Immortal Flames and the Syndicate both.
I shall be assuming my father's duties. And may I say that Tizona has never felt heavier upon my back.
Twould seem I am in need of employment. Mayhap one of my old acquaintances can introduce me to a mercenary company or some such.
You may be getting on in years, father, but you'd struggle to find a band of sellswords who wouldn't snap your hand off. Your remaining hand.
Yes, the Bull of Alamigo need not be put out to pasture just yet.
Your Grace has developed a wicked edge to her humor, and you, Pippin, would do well not to laugh when the future may hold the same for you.
So, does this mean you're staying?
Aye. That seems to be the way of it. I would be glad to aid you in rebuilding our nation, if you'll have me.
If, he says. Welcome home, Raubarn.
Well, that was unexpected. Though you seem distinctly unsurprised. Either you are more astute than I give you credit for, or I'm losing my touch. In any event, one thing is certain. Alamigo will rejoice at the homecoming of her dearest son.
Alright, is it almost done? I think it's about time I headed back to Rauger's Reach. What's next for all of you? Alize will be eager to hear of recent events, so I shall join you, if you've no objections. I'd welcome the company. Twashe, why don't you come along to the Reach as well, once you've said your farewells to Donamo and the others? Alright, last little thingy, and then we're done with this patch and this mission. Going a little bit over time, but that's the usual by now, right? I think I've gone over time more times than I've actually been on time. Alright. No worries. Well, here we are again. Alphino has regaled me with the thrilling tale of hidden treasure troves, mid-meeting betrayals, unlikely alliances, and joyous homecomings. It would seem I missed everything. I was patrolling the palace grounds with Thancred and Y'shtola when we heard the report of a primal in the throne room. I honestly doubted my own ears. As others have said, we were lucky to have our Echo-blessed champions nearby this time, but we'll need to keep a closer eye on the Kaliana. You can say that again. This whole episode has reminded me just how far apart our kinds still are. It looks like centuries of fear and mistrust really can't be washed away in a day, but someone has to make an effort at reconciliation if these conflicts are ever going to end. Naturally, a lot of people are crying out for vengeance, but I've been doing my best to calm things down. Violent reprisals will only lead to more summonings. Indeed, violence will ever beget violence, as the Empire has learned to its cost in recent times. In any case, summoning Lakshmi was the Brute Mother's doing, and whoever replaces her might not be so keen on the idea. We'll just have to watch and wait. Which isn't to say we won't be putting the safety of our allies in the Vera and M tribes first. I plan to have resistance scouts keep track of the Kaliana's movements at all times. My parents will be relieved to hear that. What are your plans for the rest of the resistance army out of interest? Are we to prepare for Imperial counterattacks? That would be a question for the Resistance's newest recruit, a military commander with far more experience than me. What? The Bull of Alamigo? We call it an army, but the Resistance is really a collection of smaller, independent groups. And when Conrad passed his command on to me, the authority only extended to the freedom fighters based in Ralger's Reach. He just happened to be serving as the Resistance spokesman at the time, and needed someone to take over the role while everything was in disarray, but that time is past. When I speak with the other leaders about reforming the army under a new government, I'll be nominating Rauban as the overall commander of our forces. He has more experience than the rest of us put together, and we stand to learn a lot from him. Indeed, he is in all respects the ideal choice. Assuming he accepts the post, Alamigo will have added a formidable weapon to its arsenal. And given the progress of Nanamo's resettlement initiative, I see great cause for hope. The seeds which we so carefully sowed have begun to quicken, my friends. I like that. We tend to our promises and watch as Alamigo blooms. Yay! Give you a little post scene. Aye, as we do. Ah, look who it is. I do give thanks to the kami that my makeshift raft withstood the fury of the seas. But there their generosity ended. Without coins in our pockets for new attire, we are doomed to look like so much jetsam. Oh, woe betide the poor men in a city of rich merchants. These dango are delicious. Will you have one? More sweetbreads? I surrender my blade to secure what few coins we have. Ah, it is like talking to a child. Why fate saddled me with this burden I shall never know, but I am alive, and I must return to my master's side. Come, Tsuyu, we shall find a ship to carry us across the Ruby Sea. Meanwhile, in the Imperial Palace, oh shit. Have you read the reports? First Doma, then Alamigo, and Lord Zenos put to the sword. Do not believe everything you read. I hear the Viceroy was merely wounded, and that he has already returned to the capital. Naturally, the people beat their chests and boast loudly of taking his head regardless. Nay, Lord Zenos lives. Deplorable that our own officers should be fooled by Eorzean misinformation. Small wonder the provinces have begun rising up in rebellion. We must prepare an official and, above all, accurate announcement to quell these pernicious rumors. They would wage war with empty words. Let them produce the Viceroy's remains then. We shall soon put the lie to their claims. Uh-oh. Someone's big mad. Zenos is still alive, you say? Interesting. Alright. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, even if we went a little long. Let's go over to the stream ending screen. I will tell you right now, that is a good theory. The real reason is 10,000 times more fucked up and evil. And I love it. Right? So fun, so fun. Yeah, thank you for being here. It was a very fun stream. Excited for the next one. It's probably going to be on, let's see. So I have to work 2 evenings this week. So it's probably going to be on Thursday. Because then I have a short work day and I have the day off after that. So, yeah. So, yeah. See you on Thursday. Have a great evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it is. And see you next time. Goodbye, goodbye.